Thank you, Excellency. I will now give the floor to Distinguished Ambassador of Korea.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the outset, the Republic of Korea note with appreciation of the efforts and achievements made by the government of the Sri Lanka in the areas of rebuilding infrastructure, demining, resetting internally dispersed persons, and then rehabilitation of the child soldiers, even in the midst of the difficult situation following the civil war. The Republic of Korea, which has unique experiences of colonialization and 3-year-long the Korean War, and then the democratization process, well understands not only the importance of the accountability for genuine reconciliation, but also the considerable difficulties faced in the process of ensuring accountability. The Korean government appreciates the efforts by the government of the Sri Lanka in setting up the Lessons Learned and the Reconciliation Commission and establishing the action plan to implement the recommendations of the LLRC despite inherent difficulties. The Republic of Korea also appreciates the fact that the government of Sri Lanka has continued to express its commitments to faithfully implement the recommendations of LLRC and has shared information relating to the action plan with the international community. In this regard, we welcome the recent announcement made by the government of Sri Lanka on its plan to hold elections in Northern Province, as well as its willingness to receive special procedures following the visit of the High Commissioner for Human Rights to Sri Lanka this year. Mr. President, in conclusion, the government respects the ownership role of the government of Sri Lanka in promoting national reconciliation and accountability. The Republic of Korea earnestly hopes that United Nations human rights mechanisms shall play their role in providing necessary support and assistance in this process. The Korea will vote in favor for this resolution. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. I will now give the floor to Distinguished Ambassador of Japan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Japan attaches importance to the promotion of human rights and fundamental freedoms as universal values and emphasizes the importance of constructive and effective discussions in the Human Rights Council for the improvement of human rights situations in the international community. In order to promote the efforts towards national reconciliation being taken by Sri Lanka, Japan took part in the negotiation process on this resolution in a constructive manner. Regarding national reconstruction and reconciliation in Sri Lanka, we welcome certain progress made to date toward rebuilding infrastructure, economic development, and resettlement of IDPs. At the same time, we need to recognize that many challenges still remain. In this context, the international community, including Japan, is paying close attention to Sri Lanka's efforts to seriously address these challenges. Mr. President, Japan has been calling on the government of Sri Lanka in the bilateral context to take steady and concrete steps as its own initiative to address its human rights challenges. During his visit to Japan last week, Sri Lankan President Rajapaksa expressed his strong commitment to holding an election for the Provincial Council of the Northern Province by September this year, holding inclusive dialogue among all the political parties within the Parliamentary Select Committee, and ensuring the necessary response to human rights issues as well as the issue of accountability. Japan encourages Sri Lanka to make the utmost efforts to continue to cooperate with the international community. Japan also strongly urges Sri Lanka to steadily implement, with a concrete timeline, effective measures to address various challenges, including the realization of its commitments made during the recent Japan-Sri Lanka summit meeting, in order to achieve improvement of its human rights situations and national reconciliation, including on the issue of accountability in a prompt manner. For the aforementioned reasons, Japan will abstain from the vote on this resolution. Thank you.
I thank you, Excellency. There are other members who wish to make explanation of vote before the vote. No? Ladies and gentlemen, at the request of the delegation of Pakistan, the Council will now proceed to a recorded vote on the draft proposal L.1/revision 1. I now ask the Secretariat to open the voting machine, and I request all delegations to register their votes. About delegations registered, I request delegations to check whether their vote is accurately reflected on the screen. If so, I ask the Secretariat to close the voting machine. The voting is now closed. The results of the recorded votes are as follows: 25 in favor, 13 against, 8 abstentions. Draft proposal L.1/revision 1 is therefore adopted. Copies of the results of the votes will shortly be distributed. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council will now consider draft proposal A/HRC/22/L.17 entitled Composition of the Staff of the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. I give the floor to the representative of Cuba to introduce this draft proposal. You have the floor.
President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මානව හිමිකම් කවුන්සිලයේ 22 වන සැසිවාරයට ඉදිරිපත් කළ යෝජනාව මේ වන විට සම්මත වුණා. මේ යෝජනාවට පක්ෂව ඡන්ද 25ක් සමාජික රටවල් 25ක් ඡන්දය ප්‍රකාශ කළා. ඒ වගේම ඊට විරුද්ධව සමාජික රටවල් 13ක් ඡන්දය ප්‍රකාශ කළා. රටවල් 8ක් ඡන්දය දීමෙන් වැළකී සිටියා ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් වූ යෝජනාවට. ඇමරිකාවේ මූලිකත්වයෙන් ඇමරිකාවේ අනුග්‍රහය ඇතිවයි මේ යෝජනාව ඉදිරිපත් වූයේ. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ මානව හිමිකම් ප්‍රවර්ධනය කිරීම සඳහා මේ යෝජනාව ඉදිරිපත් කරන බව එහි දැක්ුණා. කරුණු 6ක් සඳහන් වී තිබෙනවා මේ යෝජනාව තුළ. මේ යෝජනාවලිය සම්බන්ධයෙන් දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් සාකච්ඡා කළා අද දවසේදී. එහිදී ශ්‍රී ලංකාව වෙනුවෙන් ශ්‍රී ලංකා නියෝජිත කණ්ඩායමේ ප්‍රධානී මානව හිමිකම් පිළිබඳ ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ විශේෂ නියෝජිත මහින්ද සමරසිංහ මහතා දීර්ඝ පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කළා. ඔහු පැහැදිලි කළා ඇයි මේ යෝජනාවට ශ්‍රී ලංකාව විරුද්ධත්වය පළ කරන්නේ කියා. ඔහු පෙන්වා දුන්නා මෙහි ඇති ඇතම් කරුණු තුලින් එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මානව හිමිකම් කවුන්සිලයට ලැබී ඇති බලතල අභිබවා යන බව. විශේෂයෙන්ම එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මහා කොමසාරිස්වරයා ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් සොයා බැලීමට පත් කළ විද්වත් කමිටු වාර්තාවේ සඳහන් කරුණු කාරණා මත පදනම්ව මේ යෝජනාවට ඇතම් කරුණු ඇතුළත් කිරීම පිළිබඳව ඔහු තරයේ විරුද්ධත්වය ප්‍රකාශ කළා. ඔහු පෙන්වා දුන්නා මේ එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මානව හිමිකම් කවුන්සිලේ ඇති බලතල අභිබවා යාමේ තත්වයක් බව. ඒ වගේම මෙහි සඳහන් ඇතම් කරුණු එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ සංවිධානයේ ඇති බලතල ඉක්මවා යාමක් බවත් වගන්ති සහිතව ඉදිරිපත් කළ අමාත්‍ය මහින්ද සමරසිංහ මහතා ඔහු පෙන්වා දුන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රතිසන්ධාන ක්‍රියාවලියට රුකුලක් එහෙමත් නැත්නම් දිරිගැන්වීමක් මේ යෝජනාවලිය තුලින් සිදු නොවන බවයි අමාත්‍ය මහින්ද සමරසිංහ මහතා දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් පැහැදිලි කර සිටි. ඒ වගේම එම මතයම දරමින් පාකිස්තානයේ ඇතුළු රටවල් කිහිපයක් මේ යෝජනාවලියට විරුද්ධත්වය ප්‍රකාශ කරමින් අදහස් පළ කළා දීර්ඝ වශයෙන්. කොහොම නමුත් අවසානයේදී මේ යෝජනාව එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මානව හිමිකම් කවුන්සිලයේ 22 වන සැසිවාරයේදී සම්මත වී තිබෙනවා. ඊට පක්ෂව ඡන්ද 25කුත් ඊට විරුද්ධව ඡන්ද 13කුත් ඡන්දය දීමෙන් වැළකී සිටියා රටවල් 8ක්. එයයි එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මානව හිමිකම් කවුන්සිලයේ 22 වන සැසිවාරයේදී ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වූ யோஜனாවේ தত্ত্বය.
ஐக்கிய நாடுகள் சபையின் மனித உரிமைகள் பேரவையின் 22வது கூட்டத்தொடரின் முக்கியமான அமர்வு இன்றைய தினம் நடைபெற்றிருந்தது. இலங்கை தொடர்பான பிரேரணை ஒன்றினை அமெரிக்கா மனித உரிமைகள் பேரவையிலே கொண்டு வந்திருந்தது. இந்த பிரேரணை சற்று நேரத்துக்கு முன்னர் நிறைவேற்றப்பட்டதை எங்களால் காணக்கூடியதாக இருந்தது. குறிப்பாக இலங்கை தொடர்பிலே அமெரிக்கா கொண்டு வந்திருந்த இந்த பிரேரணைக்கு ஆதரவாக 25 நாடுகள் வாக்களித்திருந்தன. அது மாத்திரமன்று இந்த பிரேரணைக்கு எதிராக 13 நாடுகள் வாக்களித்திருந்தன. 8 நாடுகள் அமெரிக்கா இலங்கை தொடர்பிலே கொண்டு வந்திருந்த இந்த பிரேரணை வாக்களிப்பிலே கலந்து கொள்ளவில்லை என்பதையும் நாங்கள் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம்.
Yes, Gokul, as you just witnessed, those were the sessions of the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, and the draft resolution sponsored by the United States on Sri Lanka was endorsed just a short while ago and was adopted by the United Nations Human Rights Council. That was following 25 votes that were cast in favor of the resolution, 13 votes cast against it, and 8 abstentions. Now, talking about the countries that voted against the resolution, there were countries such as Pakistan, Thailand, Venezuela and Ecuador who said that they will not agree with the resolution sponsored by the United States. Meanwhile, the European Union, the representative of Ireland who was speaking on behalf of the European Union said that the European Union will be voting in favor of the resolution alongside Sierra Leone and Korea. In an interesting development, Japan abstained from voting for the resolution. Now, as Gayan mentioned just a short while ago, giving you a recap of what the head of the Sri Lanka delegation, that was Minister Mahinda Samarasinha, speaking at the UNHRC session in Geneva, had to say, he said that the US-sponsored resolution was unacceptable because it gave a pessimistic tone to the developments and the reconciliation process taking place in Sri Lanka. He focused a lot on the tone of the resolution and also on the text of the resolution. He said that it was a misrepresentation in its overall scope. And he said that the resolution ignores and the clear progress made by Sri Lanka in ensuring that there is national reconciliation and development taking place. He also said it was a politicized process that was adopted for this resolution. Now, News First will of course keep you fully up to date with all the developments of this story on our primetime bulletins. That's at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock and of course at 10 p.m. on our 3 channels, Sirsa, Shakti and MTV Sports. So do join us on our primetime news bulletins as we bring you a comprehensive report of the situation that unfolded at the UNHRC session in Geneva and also on the situation that will unfold in Sri Lanka in the backdrop of this resolution.
ඔබයි නමේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් සවිස්තර වාර්තාවක් අපගෙනෙන්නට සූදානම් අපගේ රාත්‍රී ප්‍රධාන ප්‍රවෘත්ති තුලින් වැඳී සිටින්න ඔබේ අංක 1 ප්‍රවෘත්ති සපයන්න නිවුස් ෆස්ට්